Well, here's how it got started. Due to my condition, I need to be away from people, so I used to go fishing a lot. And in the beginning, I used to smoke regular cigarettes. And I used to smoke way too many of them. Chest hurt, coughing, hacking. Couldn't breathe. Plus, they start getting way too expensive really quick. So I had to switch to pipe tobacco. So I got rid of those. And I went to buying tobacco in bulk. And rolling my own. But eventually, there became a problem. So I rolled my own. That was good because it cut down on tobacco use. And it was nice trying to take a little pride in rolling your own cowboy style, trying to get it exactly the dimensions that a cigarette is, where it's packed perfectly on each end, and not smoke it deeply, but smoke it for the flavor and the appreciation, and try to slow down tobacco use and nicotine use. And that's been the only thing that's been a struggle. So out there and fishing away from people in the woods and all, smoking hand-rolled cigarettes, became issues with rare occasion. I did catch a fish. I had stuff on my hands and didn't always have cleaning solutions. Or if they got dropped and they got wet. And a lot of times I would go out with the guitar in the woods and spend a night in the woods. And so who knows what the conditions would be. So I was out there fishing and all. I started diddling around with some bushcraft, making my own little cordage. I didn't make this demonstration only. But started messing around, make my own cordage, and then I had in my morning wake up routine needed something to do while I was smoking after I rolled that cigarette, and I was drinking my coffee. So I took my little pocket knife and then just took this cedar branch and just started whittling. And I decided, went to YouTube whittling, looking into doing that. I need something to distract my mind, keep myself occupied, really do much. And anyway, so I started whittling, looked up how to do some simple mushrooms, and this was a cedar branch, and it used to be straight. Instead of doing a straight mushroom, made sure to remember my art teacher's instruction, give it a little movement. So no angle, should look like it's a straight stick, even though it used to be straight. And it's a bunch of little details I bother with, just fooling around with a dull knife and goofing off. And then I took a torch to it that was sitting around on the porch one day and just kind of burnt the top to give it a little extra little decoration down the end. And I don't know what I started doing down here, some kind of little ledge in the fish scale routine. Anyway, so I started carving. I was making bushcraft little stuff to keep myself occupied. During that, I figured, well, what happens if my rolling papers for my cigarettes get wet, or my hands are too dirty, or I just run out, or I'm down the butts, or whatever the situation may be. So let's see if it was possible to carve my own pipe. So I went out and picked an old branch off a walnut tree out of the back, and it was a bit of a weather branch. It wasn't fresh, and I had this pipe here, and this is what I decided to make eventually. And I cleared the pith out of a stem in the walnut tree. And then this is cordage I did make while I was sitting next to the pond fishing. This is a piece of walnut just cut out of a larger branch, same branch. Drilled a hole down the center of it. Little hole in the side, shaved the stem down, tried to get it as snug as fit as I could, and figured that wasn't going to last long. And I don't know, I wanted to keep it completely kind of what would happen if you was stuck in the woods kind of deal, you know, because I was really kind of shying away from people. So this cordage I did make out of grass down near the lake, and maybe no, I think it's grass. So I wanted to secure the stem into the pipe hole. So I carved out a groove around the pipe here. I tried to inlay the cordage I made and wrap it around nice and tight. And it does leak a little bit, but it gives me options. I could seat it down and then push the cordage up. And I do have some all natural beeswax left over from my bees hive that I thought about coating around here, maybe melting a little bit just to make it completely airproof. And then I scorched the center, put a little honey in, scorched it again, gave it a little clean. It did its job. It was neat. I mean, it's the best thing, but I used it and in a pinch, and you know, didn't have to worry about getting to a store if I ran out of rolling papers or lost them or something happened to them. So, and if it broke, hey, I made it. It didn't cost me nothing. So that was the first one. And then a couple people thought it was cool. And it's, you know, that's really neat. Showed an old buddy, and they thought it was all right. And so then I decided, well, you know, this one's half-assed, really. So let me try another branch off of that, a fresh sapling off of walnut. And, you know, I wasn't really particular in the wood, and I want a one-piece pipe. So I cut the branch really long. Yeah, I don't know how long this bowl was before it ended up in this shape, but I don't know what I'm doing, and I didn't know what I was doing, so it was hard to clear the pith out of such a long and irregular shaped stem. It's pretty long, maybe 16, 18-inch long altogether. I don't know, I never measured it. But anyway, it's got I would say, I hold it in my left hand, it's got a curve to the left, a little curve down into the bowl. This is not straight, so it took a lot of effort to get the pith out. A lot of back and forth to get that pith out. And then I was finally able to clear it down to the bowl. Oh, still has some ash in there. And then, I don't know, I decided what shape does it want to be. And I started knocking corners off with a knife. And in my whittling phase, I had updated from a regular dull pocket knife. I had updated to a little whittling set here. Set of little whittling knives, and which, oh man, that made things terrific. But I just gave it some rough, took the bark off and gave it some rough carving, just basically get rough angles here to the general dimensions. And I didn't really carve it down too much. I don't know, I think I did look on whole kind of depth and knock these ashes out. depth and width, but I was kind of just doing my thing, and that's always kind of like what I like to do. So I think if you look up and find out and have a set of rules that you follow on a project from the start, never having done it, yeah, it might turn out, but it's going to turn out like somebody else told you it was going to turn out. I like doing it, not following the rules necessarily, not breaking them intentionally, but learning on my own. And what I found is pipe, I decided where I was going to hold it, the length that felt comfortable, and I started carving it to fit my hand. And when I got it down to where it felt really well in my hand and sat really well in my hand, I decided to then take sandpaper, and I just went back and forth, with the sandpaper like this, of how I was going to hold it, how it was going to fit in my hand. It was going to be my pipe to use. So this is what the final product. I covered it on just externally with some butcher block oil. It didn't take fully. I had scorched the top of the bowl, a little intentionally, a little not. I don't know. Thought it looked like kind of like a bullhorn, kind of wanted like a tavern pipe, but wanted one piece. And eventually put, I think, 2-3 coats. I don't know. It wasn't really. I didn't really pay attention, and just smoothed out everything. So never really had a real pipe, and then this Christmas, my family here, loved ones got me my first. This is my first official real pipe I've ever had. It's nice. It fits. It's comfortable. The draw on it is terrific, which is, I guess, the benefit of professionally made pipes, because mine are a little narrow, I guess, a little tough. But anyway, this was how it all started, and from the whittling phase. Focus. From the whittling phase, doing old, starting blocks and balls in the center I was getting the principles down, really. Started seeing how it was going to be, decided let's go a little bit more complicated instead of just finishing something simple. So doing a half with one, let's do a whole with two. And I figured out, hey, I was going to be able to do that. Yeah, that would have been neat. But I don't know. I've seen it before. So I wanted to do something else, something different. So I started out of necessity, making pipes. And now I decided, well, I really like this pipe. And apparently so do other people, because I've had a few offer me a couple bucks for it. And I couldn't part with it, first of all, because I didn't want to use that one. I don't have a backup. Can't afford a backup. Didn't have a real one yet. So I decided to make a backup. So this is where we're at in the next phase. And I'm going to take it from our tree branch and take everybody through it. And we'll see how it ends up. It could work, or it could be a total mistake. Bowl's already rough drilled out. Pith is already cleared out. Clear all the way through. So I'm going to take the bark off. And it's really giant and bulky compared to what I want to see about getting it down to. So we'll see how it turns out. But anyway, this is how it started. And then this new one here, this is the journey we're going to go on. So journey with me, I guess, on my journey. Bye-bye.